I was out in the pub one night and I was having a couple of drinks with this guy. I was sitting with him all night. Well, for about an hour or two. And what happened was we were sitting there having a drink. And he says to me, "Where do you work?" I says, "Oh, I work in the Haven." He says, "What is that?" I says, "A place for people with mental health issues." And he says, "Fuck off." He says, "Get out, dinna come back." My childhood was alright, it wasn't too bad a childhood. I was quite free childhood. I used to climb up trees and about 11 o'clock at night and look up at the stars, up at the universe.
The thing is about my life when I was a child, it was a happy childhood. It was just really strange that I would feel this way. I do have vivid memories of feeling really lonely. And there was cases where I would actually sit and wait for my neighbours to come down, and sitting there for the half an hour or so, 3/4 of an hour, being very lonely.
My issue started while I was studying at uni. I couldn't really finish my coursework or get on board with my courses properly, and things escalated quite majorly after a while.
First of all, I had an outer body experience when I was in her house, and I come out of my body, touched the wardrobe when I was lying on the bed, turned round to look at myself, and I felt a bolt of lightning put me back in my body. And I believed that to be God saying, "No, this is not right for you."
I started believing I was telepathic, and that my friends could send me messages through like signs in the environment that I had to interpret.
When I was 17, I took medication. It was my father's medication. He died of cancer and he had strong painkillers, and I took that. Thereafter, between times, I just took medication all the time. I think it became a form of self-harming. Sometimes I think it's down to stress that, you can start feeling very unwell.
Well, when I went back to university, I had some kind of crisis, I think, because I just constantly heard voices all the time. There were about 60 odd voices. There was quite a lot of them.
And my girlfriend at the time, the woman I was smoking the marijuana with, she was, we were sitting one night, and what happened was I asked her whether I was talking to her telepathically. She motioned yes. That was the onset of the voices and the visions.
I'd never think, why is this happening? It just didn't occur to me.
So I had about 10 voices and visions, so some of the voices were like just lying to us completely, and they were wanting me to kill myself. On the one hand, the voices were deceiving me into thinking that me and the voices were something special, and on the other hand, they were just lying to us completely.
I believe that like transcendent beings from another dimension had come down and like possessed most other people on the planet, and I had just been left behind as one of the people who hadn't been saved, if you like, because there was a kind of saving theme, and I thought that I was going to go to hell at the end of 2016.
When I first heard the voices as well, there was constant bagpipes playing. It was like someone practising the bagpipes, like a little girl. It wasn't very good, but good grief, it did disturb you. It was just, not another night of bagpipes.
One thing that they said quite a lot of was that I needed to do various sort of meditation rituals in order to save my soul, if you like, from hell. I had to basically try and speak to them in a way that was appropriate to them. They had a tendency of trying to punish me for, if I displeased someone.
And then it just got worse and worse. That they were coming from the TV, they were coming from outside in different directions, different distances.
It was demons speaking in relatives' voice, female and male. Mostly female, actually, yeah.
I think you had to switch the lights off and on a certain amount of times, and then after the third time you left them on, You couldn't just switch a light off. You would have to do that 3 or 4 times again and then switch it off. So there was a pattern to it.
The voices would all speak one by one, which you'd think would sort of simplify things, but unfortunately they would never leave me alone. So there was always someone new stepping in the minute I'd sort of satisfied someone's requirements for getting them to leave me alone, you know. And this higher self was like really strict and had really high standards, and I just never seemed to be able to meet them.
The gentleman was the oldest one, and he began to become a bit demonic. And he forced me to look out the window and put my head out the window. I was petrified, absolutely petrified. I remember thinking that my head's going to get chopped off or something like that. And I looked up and I just saw this face with red eyes. It was absolutely frightening.
I seen the demons as well, so they were different colours.
This guy told me that I'd really fallen behind, and that there was no way I could rescue myself unless I started doing really drastic things to save myself. He was saying that in the future you're going to have to be really good at harming yourself because it'll make you less of a target when you're left behind in hell on earth. And he said, get used to harming yourself, feeling pain. So I went down into the basement of my house, or my parents' house, and I found a rusty hacksaw, and I basically started cutting away at one of my fingers. And I believed that the fact that it didn't hurt me that much made me think that they were helping me, because it was less painful than you think actually. And I thought that this is some of the voices sort of helping me, so that made me even more determined to sort of cut through my finger.
Which people inspired me most? The people that suffer the most. I just need to help them, because a few of them at the Haven have killed themselves, and they didn't realise how beautiful they are. They didn't realise how much light's pouring through them, how much vulnerability, how much beauty. And you just need to help.
I was sent to A&E for a couple of days, and then from there I was sent to Carstew at 9 Wells.
I was given a psychoanalyst who I could see every week locally. And that was a major turnaround for me actually. It gave me a lot of insight about my past and where I was now. I found that exceptionally good. My drugs were changed. Tried another mood stabiliser, tried another antidepressant, and we just went on from there.
I personally think that a lot of it was just kind of like waking up from a dream, because I realised that these voices were never going to help me.
The media are well intentioned, but they make caricatures.
I think there definitely is a stigma at present. For mental health issues, words like schizo and psycho get thrown around quite readily, and it really isn't. These things aren't as threatening as they seem. People are much more human than that.
They make caricatures through the representation of mental health, mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia in particular, because there's been a few people that have went haywire and killed people. I would say that's about 2% of the 100% though. Most people, 98% of people are just a danger to themselves and not to others.
I found medication, in my case aripiprazole, to be really helpful in reducing hallucinations and hearing voices, but At the same time, I feel that a lot of it was just me coming to the insights off my own bat.
It never really sort of stopped immediately, it didn't. I mean, it just sort of calmed down in time.
One thing that did help me was that I started going to a Hearing Voices group I was referred to by my occupational therapist, called the HAVEN, and they were really helpful. It was just really interesting to talk to other people who'd had similar experiences.
Well, the community aspect of the Haven is good, and it helps us feel not alone.
The voices didn't stop entirely until, well, they still haven't stopped entirely, to be honest, but they speak to me really rarely.
Sometimes they do, but hardly ever. Maybe you see a vision here or there. You didn't reject it and you didn't cling to it. And it seems to dissipate, so.
I force myself to just turn over and go back to sleep. I just won't let them win anymore. No way would I let them win anymore.
I'm hoping my faith's leading us to a sound mind. So I could help others through the experience that I've been through. I run the... I forgot.
I'm most for looking for... Never had this problem last time.
What next?
Okay, can you just do the...
Should I smile more?